Thank you for joining us for our 15-minute silent meditation. Let us begin by taking a deep, centering breath.
use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, and God so much more than the earth and the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Good morning. Welcome to Creative Living Fellowship. My name is Ralph Potter, and I'm a member here at CLF, and I'm happy to be your Sunday service host today as our senior minister, Reverend Sherry F. McCreary, has the day off. Here at CLF, we are a religious science church and teaching center, and we welcome all paths that lead to the truth. Our vision here is to be a community of care, connection, and creation that opens hearts and incubates dreams. And we do that through the principles and practices of the science of mind. One of the practices is holding the high watch. And what that means is that there are two practitioners, Carrie Sherman and Reverend John Halliburton, sitting in meditation and prayerful contemplation throughout the service this morning, holding a space throughout the service for the perfect unfolding of our time together. They're also holding a space for all of us and whatever we may be moving through at this time. Thank you, Carrie and John. I'd like to welcome all of you who are joining us online. Please take time to make comments in the comment section. We'd love to know who's there. And if you've got more than one person in the room there, let us know who's there. Cats, dogs, kids, everything. If there's any of you that's turning into us for the first time today, we welcome you here. We know that you had lots of choices and places to be. And so we're so happy that you're spending your Sunday morning with us. We have a tradition here at CLF, and it's our welcome message for our first-time guests. Whoever you are, wherever you've been, whatever brought you to our service today, we welcome you here into our hearts. Namaste. And namaste is a Sanskrit word that means the God in me recognizes the God in you, and that we do. We have a great program for you this morning. We're going to start out with Nicole Jordan sharing some announcements. And then after the announcements, there will be a brief gong watch followed by a few moments of silence. Then practitioner Pete Waring will bring us the reading and opening prayer. Let the words of today's reading find a resting place in your minds and hearts this morning. And now, here's Nicole with the announcements. Nicole?
Good morning, Creative Living Fellowship. Are you ready for your announcements? Remember to join us for midday meditation on Facebook Live at noon, Monday through Thursday. Are you missing your CLF community? Well, there's no reason to miss out. Tuesdays, Reverend Sherry is hosting a Zoom meeting for a community care connection. Last Sunday was our first one, and it was so sweet and amazing. So please don't miss out on seeing each other and checking in. The Zoom meeting link can be found in the comments, and we meet Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Look forward to seeing you there. Never worry about money again with Financial Peace University. The 9-lesson course that gives you the proven plan to master budgeting, pay off debt, build wealth, and give generously. The course centers around lessons taught by Dave Ramsey, Chris Hogan, and Rachel Cruz, followed by small group discussions by practitioners Cheryl McCreary and Monica Zykis. Financial Peace University includes your member workbook, as well as 1 year of free access to Financial Peace membership, where you'll find tons of online resources to help you start winning with money. Check out the comments below for a link to register and more information. Class starts May 13th at 6:30 p.m. Today we have John Stringer here as our special guest, and he is having the Art of Listening to Genius workshop after service at noon via Zoom. In this 90-minute workshop, explore the practical, intuitive abilities that allow you to listen to spirit, open up to the genius within you, and express more of what may be latent. If you are, or ever wished you were intuitive, or simply want to know how to access your God-given abilities on demand, this online workshop is for you. This is for a love offering, and the Zoom meeting link can be found in the comments below. And that's it for today's announcements. It is now time for our gong wash. I'll be seeing you online.
Many people naturally ask, if God is good, if God is love, if God is peace, why all this confusion? Don't you think that even God could not have done it any other way? Can't you see that even the divine will, in ordaining man's destiny, was compelled to let man work out his own future? The more you think about this proposition, the clearer it will become. Do you think it would have been possible for it to have been any other way? You would not wish to be an automation any more than you would wish to be a cabbage or a wave in the ocean or a knot in a tree. The greatest gift life could have made to you is yourself. You are a spontaneous, self-choosing center in life, in the great drama of being, the great joy of becoming, the certainty of eternal expansion. You could not ask for more, and more could not have been given. This is from This Thing Called You from Ernest Holmes. So let's take a moment now and go into prayer. There's one mind, one consciousness. This one consciousness exists in all of creation. It is the intelligence that creates the particle. It is the intelligence that lives in our bodies. It is the laws of nature, the laws of physics. This one mind, one consciousness is everywhere present. And that consciousness is my consciousness. And my consciousness is God consciousness. And this is true not just for me, but for all. And knowing this truth, I, Peter, speak my word with the authority of the God within me. And I declare this service good. I declare this service unfolding in perfect harmony for each and every person watching. And I bless our speakers, and I bless John Stringer, and I bless all who are involved in our service today. And I bless all speakers of truth. I also claim for each and every one of us perfect health, harmony, the joy of God moving through us and as us, as one perfect, whole, and complete person. For that is who we are. And I claim that, I know that, and this is the truth. And I am so grateful for this truth. I am so grateful for the perfect outcome of this service and for all involved. And I release this prayer now into that law. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Pete. It's now my pleasure to introduce and welcome back our guest speaker and musical inspiration for today. It's none other than John Stringer. John Stringer is a singer, songwriter, speaker, retreat and workshop facilitator. He's a healer and an author with a passion for music, community, and limitless love and light. His music has taken him around the world, performing in 13 countries, and he's on the top 10 Billboard charts. Let's welcome back John Stringer.
Hello, my name is John Stringer, and I'm delighted to be sharing with you my thanks to Creative Living Fellowship for the invitation. I hope that you enjoy what I bring, and I encourage you to give generously to Creative Living Fellowship as they support those and create the platform to give to you. Thank you again. This song is called Holy Instant, Holy Moment. Imagine if you were listening to the I Am consciousness. It would say this: here I am. I heard that you've been looking for me. Part of me to look for me. I think that's kind of funny. And here I am, waiting for you. Listen for me now. I can wait for as long as it takes, because everything's already here right now, right now. Holy instant, holy moment. Holy instant, holy moment. You've seen your peaks, you've seen the veil removed, yet you know that you love to suffer until you're ready for some higher good. Yes, all good, as you say, it's all good, 'cause I made it that way. The essence is eternal, an extension of myself. Holy instant, holy moment. Holy instant, holy moment. Your creation of form is something else, beauty but not real. So don't get caught in how you feel when you see something go down that you don't like. Remember, oh remember, there's no wrong and there's no right. Holy instant, holy moment. Holy instant, holy moment. And I will lead you home, and don't be afraid to speak to me and ask whatever you may need. And don't be afraid to let it go. Ask whatever you need to know. Holy instant, holy moment. I will lead you home. Holy instant, holy moment. And I will lead you home. Yeah. And don't be afraid to release the pain. Cry and feel the love again. Don't be afraid to release the pain. Cry and feel the love again. Oh, holy, holy, oh, holy, holy, oh, holy, holy, oh, holy, holy. We're singing home, holy, holy. You're welcome to sing it. Home, holy, holy. Om, 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 holy, holy. Om. Take a breath. So we give thanks for the opportunity to come together, to be reminded, to remember together, to be a vessel of light and love, to demonstrate alignment, surrender, to demonstrate all that is to be demonstrated in this talk entitled Divine Genius, Claiming More of Your Birthright. Whether in good times or facing challenges, we are blessed with powerful abilities and a birthright to flourish in any journey, whatever we are facing. So we claim our birthright when we remember that we can flourish independent of external circumstances. Now, many of us are faced with challenges brought about unexpected challenges. And this is a cycle of life. These wonderful lessons we get to learn. And hopefully you're learning those lessons by tapping into that divine genius, divine power. What I'm here to talk about is claiming more of your birthright by doing exactly that. Tapping into the divine genius. Now, my wife and I have a wonderful podcast called Awakening Pillow Talk, where we get on and talk about the challenges and the joys and the opportunities and lessons we're experiencing. And it all hinges on one thing. We call it Awakening Pillow Talk because it's about awakening to our power, awakening to the unshakable power, as my wife likes to term it. That alignment that Source brings when we tap into that essence. We claim that unshakable power. We claim that peace, joy, bliss, dynamic bliss, in whatever the moment calls for. In other words, when we tap into divine genius, what we're doing is transcending the norm in this dimension. I was blessed to share with a friend how it's not normal to tap into your divine genius. That is not the norm. When you look in this world, people who believe they are of this world, that they are the form, that they are the bodies, that they are limited and not connected to the all, to the oneness, to the essence that is unchanging and eternal. When we believe that conditioned, limited way of thinking, we often follow suit with the norm. We don't claim more of our birthright. And in fact, we claim more suffering, more trials, more ups and downs, and we find our peace subject to the external. Is this moment lining up the way I wanted it to in the external? Is my peace dependent upon the knowing that my finances are coming based on a secure job? And when a pandemic comes and that job is gone, is my peace gone? Is it dependent on the external? Or am I tapping into that divine genius that knows all is well, knows that this is unfolding for my highest good, and knows that there is an opportunity and a lesson for me to accept if I only ask and be still and listen? So how do we access this divine genius and more of our birthright? The reality is, it is our practices. Our practices are what assist us in opening up, in accessing that genius. I like to share it as I hear it. And the way I hear it and receive it when I tap into that genius is there are levels of consciousness and levels of creation. We tap into those levels when we expand our awareness by aligning, being present, centering in this moment. Whatever practice works for you to help you do that, that's what you want to use. And you want to find the practices that work. That's part of the journey in strengthening your will to choose. When we align center, get still, be present, all synonyms for that same thing of connecting with the essence, the spirit within, the kingdom of God within. When we go within and connect to that kingdom through our alignment with the source, with the spirit, with God, we begin to receive divine inspiration, guidance, visuals, what have you. It's all ours. It's part of our birthright. It's part of the abundance of the way spirit communicates with us through the senses. Often we don't recognize it's happening. It's always available, always there, every moment pregnant with it. It's just we've forgotten how to access or recognize it and trust it. And so our practices assist us in doing so, beginning to trust it. I love sharing with our son how practice is called practice for a reason. He's been learning piano, taking lessons on the piano and learning how to play. And he used to get frustrated when he couldn't get it exactly like it needed to be, perhaps. So talk to him and explain that it wouldn't be practice if you sat down and mastered it immediately. You wouldn't need the practice, right? Many of us are mastering something. Some of us are mastering confusion, frustration, anger, feeling ways we don't want to feel. We're masters of that. And that's okay. It teaches you through that suffering you're creating what that feels like, so that it can increase your desire to opt out of the suffering, to awaken, to align, so you might be born again in this moment. So our practices strengthen our will so that we might choose to opt out of the suffering and awaken and claim our birthright. What is our birthright? We talked about practices that work for you. Meditation, yoga, stream of consciousness, writing, all sorts of breath work, mindfulness. There's so many practices. Getting still and knowing the divine presence, coming into that awareness of that presence that is always there. That's the practices. What's the benefit of aligning and expanding that awareness? We begin to receive so much more. You see, our birthright is not the norm we've been conditioned to believe. This limitation of what life looks like, birth into the physical body, growth, deterioration, sickness, death, and what have you. That's the norm. That's the normal cycle we're used to seeing. But there is so much more. When I was a child, I believed there was more. I tried different things, and I went on my journey, created a lot of suffering for myself, a lot of traumas. Some of you can relate to that. When I finally cried out and had had enough of the suffering, I think I might have been in my 30s, most of my life. It was finally saying, I'm ready for something. Show me something that works. Whatever this great power is that at the time I only knew as the word God, because that's what I'd been taught. I cried out for help, and I received that guidance and that direction for something that works. I began to metanoia, repent or change the mind. Metanoia. I begin to shift and be transformed by the renewing of my mind, by taking captive the thoughts and the thought patterns that were seeing only the negative. I begin to use practices like gratitude to transform the way my mind thought. Begin to see as my wife loves to quote, the silver linings playbook. Had my silver lining playbook out and was choosing to train my mind to see what is good, what is pure. Through that practice and that mental transformation, I begin to access the levels of creation, frequency and vibration, and create new internal states and sensation at the level of sensation, and even the third level of meaning. Begin to transform the meaning I would choose in my thoughts. My practices assisted me in all three of those levels and in the level of form, the fourth level, what manifests in form. Begin to shift based on what I chose at these levels and created at those levels. I also begin to shift what I did in the world of form and the experience overall that I created based on strengthening my will, practicing and aligning and listening to that genius begin to guide me into a whole new life. One no longer defined by incessant suffering, confusion, and trauma I had created in my mind, but one defined by alignment, surrender, relief, letting go of the things that no longer serve, being aware, learning how to release even more, how to expand even more, how to let go of the separation and that illusion even more, and becoming one who shined the true light that we are. That's your calling, if you choose it. It's through your practice that you align, you expand, and you begin to claim your birthright of being limitless love and light in this dimension, in this world of form, being in this world but not of it. You are of your father, of your mother, God, the divine source. You're an extension of that, and you claim the birthright and let go of the limitations that tell you you are not enough. You let go of the limitations that tell you you can't trust life and what is showing up. You let go of the limitations that keep you in fear, and instead you're surrendering to trust and moving through that fear, coming out on the other side knowing all is well and always is. That's the benefit. Peace that transcends understanding. For Easter, I gave a message about the wonderful example of Jesus going through facing the cup, but surrendering, asking for if any other way existed, that'd be great, but not my will, thine will, letting the cup pass. Accepting that the will was to drink of the cup. Surrendering his spirit and being the example to overcome the sting or illusion of the sting of death. Showing victory that death has no sting. It does not end our lives. We are eternal sons and daughters of the Most High. That wonderful example is one we can choose in any moment, where fear is prevalent, making us feel everything's or forget everything's all right. We forget everything's all right. That acronym, F, forget, E, everything's A, all right. Fear. When we forget, we get caught up in the suffering. When we align, we let go of fear. We remember everything's all right. Wow, that's an acronym. REAR. We remember everything's all right. You can look back in your life, the rear view mirror of your life, and see how life has always brought you through. No matter what the challenge, you're in this very moment where all is well and always is. And even if it doesn't feel like it or appear it on the external, internally, you can choose to align and access that vibration of wellness. Even if your health isn't where you want it to be, it is independent of the physical. Because you are in the physical, but not of the physical. You are divine expansion. You are not limited to the body. You can access so much more. So the benefits are to transcend the apparent illusion of limitation. The appearance of limitation is not your birthright. Yeshua said, I came to give life more abundantly. Not just abundance in financial wealth, but in the feeling of health, the consciousness, the vibrations of health and wealth. and love and light, independent of the form, the physical, the external, the circumstances. It is irrelevant. Circumstances are subject to change, temporal by definition. This too shall pass. However, your alignment with the source gives you the ability to expand your awareness, access levels of consciousness that are genius, and bring it through. Now, one of my favorite examples to point to are the wonderful, wonderful interviews from 60 Minutes, where they interviewed different high functioning geniuses. Those who demonstrated genius in math and other ways and could also communicate socially. One of the fascinating interviews I remember seeing probably decades ago was one gentleman who could calculate faster than a computer and even calculator, of course, at that time, when they gave him math equations. And when he would repeat them, they were awed by the consistency and accuracy, but they'd asked him, how does he do it? Did he carry the one and just do that really quick? He's like, nope, not doing any of that stuff. I'm receiving the symbols and translating them. And the numbers and series of numbers look certain ways. He learned to read the symbols. When I later saw another interview, a totally different genius, and how he did it, he described an almost identical process. When I began to study genius and look into it further, I learned that Mozart did the same thing visually, except he would translate what he received, the visual pictures, into music and notes. That's how he wrote symphonies. So started noticing there's this audio-visual connection and the mathematical visual connection, but there are also other connections where we can use the senses in ways we didn't realize and tap into this God-given genius that teaches all things. That essence of life, that Ruach spirit, is the same thing we've come to accept as accessing genius in the mathematical world, in the musical world, but we don't recognize it in our own lives that we have access. So we have to find the practices that help us expand and begin to explore that. I've been fortunate enough to not only learn and apply that in my life, but to be able to teach it and share it. And it is amazing. It is so infinitely intelligent and beautiful and amazing, the gifts we have and are able to access. But it's for those who choose to do so. Not everybody's going to take that path because it's not normal. It can look crazy. That's why Jesus was looked like he was. He was not normal. Many of our geniuses are not normal. I don't consider myself normal. I consider myself aligned with the source in bringing through that divine essence that is my birthright, which is accessible to all who choose it. Now, the truth is, the most normal and natural thing we can do is surrender and let go. It's just in the world of illusion, that's not always the norm we see, but it's happening for many of us. So, what's normal in the lower level of thinking is not what we want to be a part of, the limitation for those who want to claim their birthright of abundance, of wellness, of genius. So the invitation is to claim that birthright, find those practices. And if you have those practices, continue from a moment to moment basis of remembering to align, to expand the awareness, to notice in this moment, what am I feeling? Right now, what are you feeling? As you take a breath, you breathe and relax. What am I feeling in this moment? Breathing and relaxing, being present with the isness. Surrendering to the knowing and the I am consciousness, knowing that all is well and always is.
Thank you for that wonderful, amazing music and message, John. This is our offering time now, the time that we consciously share our tithes and offerings. Please remember that during this time, even when we're not able to meet together, CLF still has financial obligations that continue. So we invite you to participate in this part of the service by pressing the donate button or even clicking the link in the comments section. And we thank you very much for your needed support. As you make your donations, John Stringer will bring us our offering music.
The most beautiful part of the surrendering and the genius that I've been listening to explains that not only are we extensions of the divine, but that divine is love. Therefore, we are loved in part in the roles we play, regardless of what we choose, and in whole. We are extensions of Source in part in the roles we play and in whole. This song is about the love that we are when we begin to let go of the misperceptions, the limited conditioned thinking, all the ways it shows up, and we begin to see it. Soul feels the passion, rises up in the magic. When your joy overflows and you're filled with compassion, that's love. That's love. What you see and what you learn is not the ultimate concern. It's what you choose to think and be. I feel the truth that sets you free. That's love. Yeah. Oh, that's love. Allow it to flow. Go ahead and get out the way. Let your mind turn into day. Allow love to take control. It's about what moves your soul, yeah. What moves your soul. Alright. That's love. Oh yeah. That's love. When you walk for forgiveness and let go of resistance, when you seek to understand and you lend a helping hand, alright, yeah, that's love, oh yeah, allow it to flow. Go ahead and get out the way. Let your night turn into day. Allow love to take control. It's about what moves your soul, yeah. What moves your soul. Oh yeah. That's love. Oh yeah. That's love. Oh,
receiving and it's giving. Listen now, can you hear the call that's in love? Alright, that's love. Hey, yeah, that's love. Oh, yeah. Allow it to flow. I am love. Here I am.
Namaste.
Thank you for joining us today. Remember that we have an on-call practitioner available to pray with you. Go to our website and click on the prayer for any names and contact information. Don't forget to go to the John Stringer Zoom meeting today at noon. Please take care of yourselves and reach out to each other. We love you, we miss you, and Reverend Sherry will be here next week.